When I was in elementary school, like many others, we had a dedicated period for going to and reading in the library. There we were allowed to check out a book from there or read one from home. Either way, we usually sat and read, but sometimes we would do other things like look at a world map or learn about different books and authors. One time she wore a kimono to class to tell us about her trip to Japan. Lucky bitch. I'm looking at you. I think it was just a flex on us, but whatever. Anyway, I think there were a few things that set our library experience apart from other schools. So upon first entering the library in kindergarten, which I have to preface this, for half the school year, we never had extracurricular because when I was in kindergarten, I don't know if they still do it at the school, but we were split. Half the year we would be afternoon, half the year we would be morning, and it would switch with another class. So I think I was morning for the second half. So upon first entering the library, besides, the smell of a half-century-old school and musty books, which I think it had to have been over a century old. 1946, a little over a half century. So besides the smell of a half-century-old school and musty books, we were met with what I remember being a very strict librarian who would just, most of us were not too fond of her. The first thing I remember is that every single year, we would just sit there and she would have us practice pronouncing her name, which for the new students was, good for them. But it's like, you don't need the whole class to do it. Like, I'm going to use astronaut as a stand-in because it's close. So we would just sit there saying, Mrs. Astronaut, Mrs. Astronaut, over and over and over, and it was torture, so much that it eventually became a joke among us. She was really hard on us too if we mispronounced it or used miss instead of Mrs., and that really sucked because it's stupid. It's like I had a teacher who would get mad at us if we used Mr. instead of Doctor. It's like, you are a middle school music teacher. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, if we call you Mr. rather than Doctor, it's like, you're really that proud of having a doctorate in music and you run the Rhode Island Film Harmonic, whatever, I think. But like, does it really matter that you have to get mad at middle schoolers for calling you Mr.? You are a Mr. You are not solely a doctor. You still are a Mr. as far as I know. Like, he's still a Mr. But anyway, she was really strict on us too for whether or not we were reading books in the library, or like she was strict on what was a quote reading book. So I had to actually, like, Phoenix Wright style, make a case for myself because I had a book that I got from like the book fair, or maybe it was like book orders, the Scholastic book order. Is that I think that's the right word. But I got like a Littlest Pet Shop book that had like all the little animals in it. I never bought Littlest Pet Shop, so I don't know why I had it. I just like looking at it, I guess. So I got it there, or at the through the book order or the book fair, and it's bound as a book. It's got words like a book. It's a reading book. It's not like it's all just pictures. There were words in it and descriptions and stuff. It'd be similar to saying an encyclopedia isn't a reading book, and she's like arguing with me that it's not a reading book. I'm like, it is a book. It has words. I can read it. It is a reading book. Are you really going to get mad at an elementary school kid about what they're reading? It's like, it's not like I'm reading something inappropriate. You're letting us read Goosebumps. It's like, why aren't you more up in arms about that? Goosebumps should remain in schools. I don't know why schools want to get rid of Goosebumps. If kids are scared of Goosebumps like I was, that's on them for reading Goosebumps. But all this stuff, it's like, okay, my Sonic Encyclopedia, I guess that's not a reading book then. It's just a book. What kind? It's not just a picture book. Where do we define the difference between a child's picture book and an adult picture book? Well, technically Sonic is an encyclopedia. But I guess that Littlest Pet Shop thing was an encyclopedia too. But either way, I guess I have to find like another use for my encyclopedia. Okay, to move on, probably the worst part of that class was having to learn the Dewey Decimal System, which for those who don't know, I don't know if there's anyone who doesn't. I'm not sure if it's still used, like in school libraries. I'm sure it is, but for those who don't know, bless your innocence. The Dewey Decimal System is a system using authors' names and a catalog number to organize books in a library. I had to look all this up to write this script. I did not remember how to use it well. Like, not off the top of my head. I can't remember the last time I used the Dewey Decimal System was once for my teaching course, because they're like, here's 3 racks of books, find a book in the online library thing, and find it here. It's like, all right. Like, simple enough. But so libraries, you typically see number tags on the shelves, so that's so you can more easily find specific books, which nowadays it's made easier through online sites for school and public libraries, like I said, that make it easier to look up, locate, or even reserve books that librarians will then find for you and have ready for you when you go to their desk. However, back in the day, when I was in elementary school, so 2007 to 2013, around that time, we had a big wooden filing cabinet in the back of the library that was full of cards, and each of the 3 or 4 drawers had books by authors with last names starting with various sections of the alphabet. So say you're looking for Goosebumps Welcome to Horrorland, the original one. To find it without having to scan every shelf of books, you would just go to the drawer with the R authors, leaf through to the cards to find R.L. Stein, or maybe it was an S for Stein. I think it was an S for Stein, which I always looked for R for R.L., and I never found it. But, you'd find R.L. Stein, then leaf through those books under R.L. Stein to find the Welcome to Horrorland card. That would then have its Dewey Decimal number, and let's say the number is 905.04. Now you could finally go to the shelves, find the 905 section, and look for 905.04. Boom. Goosebumps, there it is. But for us, she wanted us to she would have us practice it every year, and she'd have us take the cards out with us, and then we'd have to find back where they were in the thing and make sure they were in order too. And it was just, we were in elementary school. It was chaos, and she asked for it, and she got mad about it. Like, you created this terrible system. You created this monster, deal with it. And there's a lot more to the Dewey Decimal System, but this is the basic points here, you get it. It's an absolutely horrible system that computers have made so much easier. I mean, the system isn't bad, but the way we went about it is bad. So I remember, we had to learn and demonstrate this like I said, we had to do this every year, and we'd moan and groan because you've got 20-something kids trying to do this all at once in a 1 hour, probably less than an hour period, in a very looking back, it was probably a small library, maybe 20 by 50 room, but it just was not a pretty sight. Another thing not fun that started when I was in 4th grade was a library jail. What would essentially happen with that is, if you talked or misbehaved in other ways, you would be sent to a table in the very back of the class to sit alone among bins upon bins of loose books that weren't put on the shelves. A lot of those were mine that I donated, and they just never dealt with. So I was sent there a few times for talking, and I was embarrassed the first few times, but we eventually kind of figured out that you could do whatever you wanted back there. So when I would end up back there, sometimes I would, just because I was bored of whatever she was talking about. I'd go back, sleep, draw, play my Game Boy or my DS, whatever, rather than what she was trying to get everyone else to pay attention to. You're not paying attention to these kids in the back. You've got this big ass table and all these bins for them to be stuck behind. Eventually she figured out that, some of us were deliberately trying to get back there, and for a while she had us stand up behind the bins instead, so we couldn't hide stuff. But she had to shut down the system eventually because it just didn't work. One thing we did always look forward to, though, was bingo. And every year before any breaks or holidays, we would play bingo, which usually it would be based on shapes of things like fruit or animals. It would be like a little black silhouette on a card. And we would have these little red and pink plastic chips. I don't know why they were called chips, but they were used to mark spots off on these pre-made boards so they could be checked. And if we won, and they could easily be checked if we won, and so they weren't marked up and could be reused. There was always one person who would stand in front of the class, and they'd show off the card and say what it was so everyone could see and hear, which, I always wanted to win, but I hated doing that part. I wanted to do it, but I was way too nervous all the time, so I had to do it for the ego and the power trip. There were a lot of power trips I had. I think I have a video about that on the channel. I'll link it somewhere. And maybe if we won, I think maybe we got something from a prize box of pencils or something. But either way, it's that was one of only 2 good things I remember from the class. And the other good thing was that at the end of 5th grade, she had everyone write letters to one another to keep after we left. I still have a majority of mine. There are some that are missing. A lot were really sweet, which, kind of made me feel bad because mine sounded like shovelware for a lot of people. Anyone I wasn't really close to or had a strong connection with got the same, "You're kind, you're funny, you're smart, you're a good friend." It probably could have been a copy pasta, after writing, I think, 24 total letters. And the ones I wanted to keep, some of them, they're just missing. I don't know what happened to them, but they're just gone. which is weird. But by far, the worst thing to come out of this damn library that very same year, last year of school, going back to when she came back from Japan, and you know how she became essentially an otaku, she decided it would be a good time to teach the students how to use chopsticks in library. You know, it's not like we're going over world history in class and stuff. I mean, we were going over like Egypt, but like this is a normal class. It's library. Why are we, you know, everyone else was happy because what she did was she gave us each some like a little paper bowl, and or I don't know if we even had bowls. We had to have, but like she gave us a few pieces of smart food from this big ass bag, like not even like a handful. It was really sad, which I mean she had to do it for multiple classes, so I mean I get it. Anyway, so she wanted us to practice picking up the things with the chopsticks, and she was trying to teach us, and you know, it was, looking back, it was good to expose us to different cultures. Well, the different culture. I don't think that was like it. It was just that. But like what was bad here was how she interacted with me. Because me being a little smart ass, you know, I wasn't a fan of smart food at the time. So I didn't really want to do the exercise either. Because I'm like, why am I picking this up? I'm also not going to eat it. This is a pain in the ass. I have little baby hands because I'm short. And I'm like, oh, she comes around, she's like, why aren't you doing it? I'm like, I am allergic. And she's like, you know, she might have saw through me, and she's like, oh, well, try it anyway. Just pick it up, whatever. And I'm like, why? But also, I don't know if she meant try it as in try picking up or try the smart food. But either way, if I said I was allergic, there were no other questions asked. Like, is this okay being in front of you? Etc., etc. Because she probably didn't see any like I had no allergies on file. I don't think they it was all paper attendance at that point, as far as I know. I don't think we were on to digital yet. I'm pretty sure we didn't move to Skyward until I was in, I want to say, middle school. Everything was still paper when I was in elementary. So she had no idea that I had any allergies, which I didn't have any allergy to smart food. I only have an allergy to ibuprofen.
I hope the audience brings lots of ibuprofen.
That was all that was on my school record. And the fact that I could go to the bathroom whenever I wanted, because, you know, my doctor was like, you wait too long to go to the bathroom, just go when you need to go. Like, you're gonna get a UTI. I'm like, all right. Because I never wanted to go to the bathroom because I get stage fright. And because just it would take time out of class and I need to come back, catch up, whatever. It's not like in high school where, you know, I could do stuff quicker and then just have time. Plus with like elementary school, we all had to go at the same time which I think by the time we reached 5th grade, we might have been allowed to go alone. Wait, no, I think we all still had to go as a class. I think that was the entire school, which is still weird. Anyway, with the whole thing, it was just a major yike. At least ask me, you know, is it okay for this to be in front of you then? Like, how allergic are you? Or to just be like, pick up other stuff with the chopsticks. That's pretty much all I remember from my absurd elementary school library experience. I'm sure there's a lot more wacky things that happen that have just slipped my mind, but if I remember anything else, or if anyone that I talk to in the future happens to remember anything else and it's enough, I will make a part 2 of this. I mean, more stuff could show up in other videos I have that I'll do at some point. I don't know what else I could do about elementary school. No, I do. I have a few ideas. But anyway, peace, peoples.